and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest we have committed to our charge. Amen. Good morning, honorable members, and welcome to this sitting. Clerk, let's start.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
May I call Honorable Francis Kavu to give a notice of motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that aware that Article 174A and Roman 1 of the Constitution provides that the objects of devolution of government are to promote democratic and accountable exercise of power and to enhance checks and balances and the separation of powers. Further aware that Article 183 3 of the Constitution mandates county assemblies to exercise oversight over the county executive committee and any other executive organ whilst respecting the principle of separations of powers. Honorable Speaker, appreciating that Section 107 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 says that a county treasury shall manage its public finances in accordance with the principle of the fiscal responsibility set out and shall not exceed the limit stated in the regulations. Acknowledging that Regulation 25(1) of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulation provides that A, the County Executive Committee member, with the approval of the County Assembly, shall set a limit on the county government expenditure on wages and benefits for its public officers pursuant to Section 107(2) of the Act. B, the limit set under paragraph A above shall not exceed 35% of the county government's total revenue. Honorable Speaker, aware that the county budget review and outlook paper for the financial year 2023-2024 report, which was tabled and approved by this House on 26 February 2025, stated that overall county bill stands at 49% against the set legal limit of 35%. Further aware that this is contravention of the law and breach of the fiscal responsibility strategies. Honorable Speaker, cognizance of the fact that according to the Auditor's General Report on the County Executive of Machakos for the financial year 2023-2024, Kenya shillings 487 million 9,214 for salaries was paid outside the integrated payroll and personnel database IPPD system in the month of June 2024. In addition, review of the June 2024 monthly payroll data revealed that two employees shared the bank's account. Honorable Speaker, I wish to give a notice of motion that this House discusses and approves that the county government of Machakos freezes recruitment of personnel, including the recently advertised position of village administrators, until a comprehensive staff audit is done, report presented, and recommendations made by this Assembly. 2. Presents to the Assembly a list of county staff paid outside the integrated payroll and personnel database IPPD system, including the details of their job description. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
May I call the leader of the majority party, Honorable Nicholas Nzioka, to give his statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before I issue my statement, I want to congratulate you for courageously taking up the seat of the Honorable Speaker and tell you the future is bright. You could be anything in this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee met today on 4th March 2025 to prioritize business for the House as forwarded by committees and honorable members pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 151, 6D. The committee balloted business as follows. Tuesday morning, 4th March 2025 at 10 a.m. A, statement on what the county government is doing to deploy cleaners in Githunguri and Katani markets that have huge population with no single staff despite their revenue potential, by the Honorable Dominic Maitha. B, statement on status of Kamulu dispensary by the Honorable Dominic Maitha. C, statement on what the county government is doing to ensure that the loitering of domestic animals is controlled within Machakos CBD by the Honorable Catherine Muya. D, statement on status of ambulance services at the River Level 4 Hospital by the Honorable Mary Ndenya. E, statement response on alleged gloved land by Airways Secondary School by the Honorable Daniel Ndwiki. F, statement response on unrepaired floodlights in Mudhwani Ward by the Honorable Daniel Ndwiki. G, motion to freeze recruitment by County Public Service Board by the Honorable Francis Carview. And H, motion on alteration of the calendar and adjournment of the House by the Honorable Nicholas Nzioka. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. May I call Honorable Dominic Maitha to give your 2 statements.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I once again want to take this opportunity to thank members for their commitment to today's session, and in a special way to congratulate you for what the majority leader said, taking the mantle and the bull by its own. The future is bright. Honorable Speaker, that aware that Article 185, Suborder 3 of the Constitution states that the County Assembly, while respecting the principle of separation of powers, may exercise oversight over the County Executive Committee members and any other county executive organs. Further aware that the functions of a municipal board include control of markets, shopping, and other employment centers, residential areas and recreational areas and parks, among others, as well as promotion of a safe and healthy environment as provided for under Section 20, Suborder 1, D and Q of the Urban and Cities Areas and Cities Act number 13 of 2011. Honorable Speaker, informed that under the same Act Section 36 provides for the objectives of the Integrated Urban Areas and City Development Planning, which requires every city and municipality established under the Act to operate within the framework of integrated development planning, which shall, among others, be the basis for overall delivery of service, including provision of water, electricity, health, telecommunications, and solid waste management. Honorable Speaker, aware that Githunguri and Katani markets are geographically within Mavoko municipality, have a rapidly growing business community with a huge revenue potential, and this growth has led to the said markets being very busy and densely populated. Informed that the said markets lack essential services such as refuse collection and solid waste management, and that lack of these essential services pose health hazard. Honorable Speaker, I wish to seek a statement from the Chairperson of the Centralized and County Administration Committee on the following issues. 1. The number of cleaners deployed to Githunguri and Katani markets within Mavoko municipality. 2. The schedule of refuse collection in Githunguri and Katani markets. 3. The solid waste management administration structures within Mavoko municipality. 4. Measures being taken to deploy cleaners on an emergency basis to ensure that a safe and healthy environment for traders and shoppers in Githunguri and Katani markets are catered for. Madam Speaker, if you give me just 2 minutes.
Proceed.
Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate that this matter has been raised with the various departments, the concerned department, on several occasions. Madam Speaker, for those who know Githunguri very well and Katani, and which I'm very happy that, Madam Speaker, you reside within Katani, and you have accessed Katani and Githunguri. And for those of you who know Githunguri very well, the population in Githunguri today is almost eating more than 100,000 people, more than actually 100,000 people. Katani is in the know-how, knowledge of almost every member here. And Madam Speaker, I wish to put to the attention of this House, Githunguri has no single cleaner. Githunguri and Katani have got no single dustbin. And today, if you go to Githunguri, Madam Speaker, and Katani, you will be surprised by the garbage menace. Despite private service providers trying their best they can, but there are some areas, and especially in markets, where they cannot be able to do that because it's a public place, Madam Speaker. So it is on this note that, Madam Speaker, I have been propelled to come and seek an immediate intervention as to why the county government of Machakos has not deployed any single cleaner, both in Katani and in Githunguri, Madam Speaker. And to the worst thought of this, Madam Speaker, and imagination, is that with the revenue potential both in Katani and Githunguri, Madam Speaker, there is nothing that the county has done to deploy cleaners in those two upcoming markets, Madam Speaker. So it is on this note that, Madam Speaker, I demand immediate answers to this. And as soon as possible, Madam Speaker, we need to have cleaners, Madam Speaker. And a case in example, Madam Speaker. Our drainage systems, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, in a case it rains, Madam Speaker, we are going to have excessive road destructions and spillovers of water, storm waters, due to clogged drainage systems. Madam Speaker, this House can recall some times back when Kinka Airways Road was under construction last year. It faced serious destruction because of storm waters that were hidden their flow because of excessive dumping of garbage in waterways. And this is becoming too seriously. Our drainage systems, Madam Speaker, are blocked because there is no single cleaner in both Katani and Airways. I mean, and Githunguri Airways market, Madam Speaker. So I seek to get answers, and immediate answers, so that the people of Githunguri and Katani can enjoy the benefits of the county government cleaning department, because they are taxpayers and they are entitled to this cleanliness as per the constitution of this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I commit this statement to the Decentralized Unit and County Administration Committee, that is DU, to report all before 9th April 2025. Mheshimiwa Dominic Maitha, I call you to give you your second statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, I am seeking a statement on the status of Kamulu Dispensary as the area representative of the great people of Mudhwani Ward. Honorable Speaker, they are aware that Article 43, Suborder 1A of the Constitution of Kenya provides that every person has the right to the highest attainable standards of health, which includes the right to health care services, including reproductive health care. Honorable Speaker, further aware that Part 2, Suborder 2A and C of the 4th Schedule of the Constitution of Kenya provides that the functions of the county government include county health services, including county health facilities and ambulance services. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 41, I wish to seek a statement from the chairperson of the Assembly Committee on Health and Emergency Services concerning the construction and completion of Kamulu Dispensary. 1, what steps has the Department of Health done to ensure its completion? And 2, when was the project initiated, its current status, absorption rate, and completion rate as per the project bill of quantities? Madam Speaker, once again, it is very disappointing that, Madam Speaker, this facility, among other facilities in the entire county, were started during the first year of devolution. Madam Speaker, this project was paid to the tune of more than 15 million shillings, taxpayers' money. And Madam Speaker, if you go to the ground, you'll be mesmerized to see the status of that public facility. Madam Speaker, I wrote a letter in 2023 complaining about serious vandalism that has been happening in that facility. And I want to report to this House that, Madam Speaker, the facility was almost 80% complete. But today, if you go to that facility, Madam Speaker, you will be surprised. Almost all metallic placements, including doors and windows that were put in that facility, have been vandalized. Quite a number of iron sheets have also been removed and taken away and sold. All the draining channels, Madam Speaker, and all the service channels that were done by the contractor have been vandalized, Madam Speaker. In fact, Madam Speaker, to be specific, the county will have to spend an extra over 10 million shillings again to put this facility into function. And since 2023, when I wrote this letter, Madam Speaker, complaining about the vandalism, the department has taken no responsibility at all or action whatsoever. It is unfortunate, Madam Speaker, if you go to the ground, now the facility has been turned into somebody's home with all the huge investments that the county had put in place. And to the worst, Madam Speaker, the facility was meant to serve Kamulu residents because it's a level 3 hospital, Katani residents, and by extension, even Kidhunguri residents. But nothing seems to be forthcoming. And considering that health issues are critical, Madam Speaker, I am seeking this testament to know the prayers that I have laid down, what the county government of Machakos is doing so that the residents of Mudhwani and specifically in Kamulu can enjoy this facility, its services, and the value of money that was invested by the county government because its taxpayers' money is utilized and given what we call return on investment, Madam Speaker. We cannot allow this facility to continue getting to waste, yet we are planning to continue to construct new facilities, Madam Speaker. So I'm going forward to seek this statement so that the people and residents of Kamulu and Mudhwani Ward can enjoy this facility. Madam Speaker, if this facility had been completed, today the residents of Kamulu and even Joska would be enjoying this facility, Madam Speaker. So that's why I'm seeking this statement so that my people can enjoy the value for money that was invested in this project. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Mudhwani. And I commit this statement to the Health and Emergency Services Committee to report on or before 9th April 2025. May I call Honorable Catherine Muia to come and give you a statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me take this opportunity first to thank you for the good representation you have shown. This is a way of showing women are in power, and I pray for you to grow in your leadership. Thank you. Madam Speaker, that aware that Section 88, Cap 403 of the Kenyan Traffic Act provides that any person found driving or conducting any cattle, dog, or other animal who on any road fails to exercise reasonable care to keep it to them under proper control, or allows such cattle, dog, or animal to become a danger to or annoyance to the public, shall be guilty of an offense and liable to a fine not exceeding Kenya shillings 10,000. Aware that Section 18 of the Machakos County Finance Act 2023 provides for the restriction of the movement of livestock in undesignated areas, and aware that loitering of livestock, mostly goats, within the Machakos CBD has been rampant, causing interference of smooth driving of motorists within the said area. Aware that loitering of animals may cause accidents, especially at night where motorists may ram into animals lying on the roads. Further aware that the unsuspecting motorists may also plow into livestock, crisscrossing the roads, killing some in the process and thus attract massive losses. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 41, I wish to seek statement on the measures that the county executive has to put in place to ensure the movement of livestock is controlled within the CBD. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa, and I commit the statement to the Committee on DU, Decentralized Units, and County Administration Committee to report on or before 9th of April 2025. I can see today our chair for DU, you have a lot of business to take. So you take it with a lot of serious and with the time limits. So I call Honorable Mary Ndenya to come and give you a statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Mary Kituku, nominated to this House by UDA. I wish to ride on the appreciation that the members have accorded to you. Your sitting height from the chamber, from the Speaker's position is appealing, and truly the future is female. Congratulations once more. Madam Speaker, aware that Article 43 of the Constitution of Kenya provides that every person has a right to the highest attainable standard of health, which includes the right to health services, including health care. Further aware that Part 2 of the 4th Schedule of the Constitution of Kenya provides that the functions of the county government include county health care services, including county health facilities and ambulance services. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the Standing Order 41, I wish to seek a statement from the chairperson of the Assembly's Committee on Health and Emergency Services concerning ambulance services in Athi River Level 4 Hospital, by knowing the number of ambulances in the facility and the status, and the actual person who's supposed to maintain the ambulances in the facility. Madam Speaker, if you can accord me 60 seconds to ventilate on this matter.
Yes, proceed, Mheshimiwa.
In pursuit of us saving lives from healthcare facilities, we rely on ambulances, Madam Speaker. And it is a shame that the ambulance at Level 4 Hospital in Athi River is not well maintained, by the fact that, and I beg your pardon to say, it looks like a tuk-tuk. The fact that it has no speed, it has no medicine, it actually has no oxygen to revive anybody just in case we need that. We will be losing so many lives in pursuit to save them. So, Madam Speaker, as I also seek this statement, it doesn't go to only that hospital, to that facility. It goes across to all the facilities, health facilities in our county. And back in the last regime, when Honorable Mutua was the governor, I know that all ambulances were well equipped. We cannot tell what happened, and we wish to restore the same. This is the year of restoration as a Catholic, and I believe that our county is very capable of restoring the same. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa, and I commit the statement to Health and Emergency Services Committee to report on or before 9th April 2025. Next order. I want to call Honorable Ndwiki to come forward and give you a statement. Chair for Lands.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want first to take this opportunity to congratulate you for the space that you have taken today to be the leading speaker. And as we used to call you big sister, you are truly a big sister, and you will grow bigger. So let me take this opportunity to go through the statement. Honorable Speaker, Standing Order 41, Article 2C states that a member may request a statement from the committee chairperson relating to matters under the mandate of the committee, and the Speaker may either appoint a day to the statement or direct that the statement be issued on the same day. Pursuant to the above standing order, Honorable Maida, MCA Mudwani Ward, on Tuesday, 12th February 2025, sought statement on the Department of Land, Housing and Urban Development and Energy regarding land block number 7340/122 in Githunguri, Njiru, in Mudwani Ward, which was gazetted in 2009 as public utility. Further, he stated that in 2019, the director of Airways Secondary School, which is a private school, constructed a school on the said land on block 7340/122 and went ahead to obtain title deed for the property. In particular, the member sought to inquire the following matters in relation to the stated plot of land. Number one, the procedure used to approve and issue the title deed to the director of Airways Secondary School, private school, from block number 7340/122, which is a public utility. Number two, the measures the Department of Land is taking to secure the said land back to the public use. Honorable Speaker, the statement was submitted to the Lands and Energy Committee, which through the letter REF MKS CA/PCS/CMM/L&E for 1/96 dated 12th February 2025 wrote to the CSM Lands, Housing and Urban Development and Housing, requesting for the stated information. The CECM, through the letter REF GMC/4/LHUD and E/CA/VL2/10 dated 17th February 2025 responded to the statement as follows. The procedure used to approve the issue, number one, the procedure used to approve and issue the title deed in the director of Airways Secondary School, private school, for block numbers 7340/122, which is a public utility. The CECM submitted that the said parcel of land is located at coordinates -1.299657 36.988959 and measures 5 acres. It is fenced with a perimeter wall all around and has 3 block buildings constructed on the land at 2 far ends, with the central part being left open. The subdivision allocation of the land, the subdivision and allocation of the land in the original entire block was done by the society official, and processing of the document was done by Survey of Kenya, Ruaraka, and at the Nairobi Central Land Registry House. Further, according to the community, the said land had been set aside for the public utility, specifically a public school, and that some unscrupulous society officials, together with the proprietor of the private school, illegally processed documents under the private ownership, which is contrary to the law, and also contrary to the county government of Machakos, which is custodian of all public utilities, was never consulted. Number 2, measures the Department of the Land is taking to secure the said land back to the public use. Honorable Speaker, the department has constituted a committee comprising of county officers from the Land Department together with officials of the Mudhwani Residents Association. The committee was tasked to visit all utilities in Mudhwani ward and prepare a comprehensive report. The committee formed has so far visited all the public utilities in Mudhwani ward and is now compiling the report which will enable them to take the necessary action. The report is intended to be shared with the relevant authorities, including the DCI, ESCC, and NLC, to start the process of acquiring back the previously belonged to the public. Yes, Madam Speaker, you will allow me maybe to put 2 or 3 words on this response. So the sought by the honorable member from Mudhwani, and we have the report from the ministry or the CSM on land, Department of Land in Machakos, and in summary, the matter is under investigation. There is that committee task force that is undertaking measures to revert back the said parcel of land back to the community. So that's the response. And Madam Speaker, I think this is not an isolated case. In Mavoko and all over Machakos, we have such cases that I wish in future we would wish to let the CSM incorporate, because we have more and more public utilities grabbed to private investors. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Chair Lance. This statement was signed by the Honorable Member for Mudhwani, Honorable Dominic Maitha, sometimes back. So I call you Mheshimiwa Maitha to state whether the response was unsatisfactory.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me say that first, I'm contented with the response from the department. And I'm sure, as per the department's commitment, the department ought to make sure that the promise it has made is fulfilled. So I'm contented, and I will keep on checking the progress of the same so that I can update this House on the positive progress of the same. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Chair for Lands, Honorable Ndwiki, you may come forward now and give your second statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a statement response on unrepaired floodlights in Mudhwani ward. Honorable Speaker, Standing Order 41 Suborder 2C states that the member may request for statement from the committee chairperson relating to matters under the mandate of the committee, and the Speaker may either appoint a day for the statement or direct the statement be issued on the same day. Pursuant to the above standing order, Honorable Dominic Maitha, MCA Mudhwani Ward, on Tuesday, 12th February 2025, sought statement from the Department of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Energy, regarding failure of the Department to implement budget for the vote on floodlights in the financial year 2024-2025. In particular, the member tasked the department to submit information on the following issues. Number one, why the department has, from last year, never undertaken repair of lights that have been functional in the ward. Reasons why the department has not implemented budget provision on floodlights in Mudhwani ward is approved by the Assembly in the FY 2024-2025. The plans which the department has put in place to ensure a 24-hour economy as regards lighting in Mudhwani ward as per PH, as per HE. The governor's speech delivered in this Assembly, 27th September 2022. Honorable Speaker, the statement was committed to the Land and Energy Committee, after which the letter was written to the CSM, letter ref, MKES, CES, stroke PCES, stroke CMM, stroke L&D, VL 1, stroke 97, dated 12th February 2024. The CSM through the letter, Rev. GMC stroke 4 stroke LHD and E and stroke Energy volume 2 stroke 58 dated 17th February 2025 responded to the statement as follows. Number one, why the department has from last year never undertaken repair to lights and have not been functioning in the ward. On this matter, the CSM responded that there was a delay in uploading the supplementary budget, which also slowed down the procurement process. He added that the work is now on course and have initiated procurement of maintenance and materials worth Kenyan shillings 10 million for the entire count. Reasons why the department has not implemented budget provision of floodlights in Mudhwani ward as approved by the Assembly in the year 2024-2025. On this matter, it was submitted that the transition to the accrual budgeting payment of pending bills and the delayed supplementary budget hampered the initiation of the procurement process. As of now, all has been navigated and committed to implement the budget once contracts are awarded. Number three, the plans which the department has put in place to ensure 24-hour economy as regards lighting in Mudhwani ward as per Excellence the Governor's speech delivered in this Assembly on 27 September 2022. The CSM submitted that the department has plans to overhaul the existing street lighting infrastructure in 2 phases, beginning this financial year 2024-2025. Requisitioning of extra budget to implement the program and already started, and that the department is hopeful to get extra budget in the coming supplementary. 2. Further, he stated that the department is rolling out a robust maintenance program that will ensure all fault lights are on before the end of March 2025. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Mheshimiwa, point of order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm standing on a point of order number 27 for the request of extension of time. Honorable Speaker, that aware that standing order number 27, sub-order 2, provides that a speaker shall interrupt business at 12:30 for the morning sitting. Honorable Speaker, aware that the standing order number 27, sub-order 3, provides that the House may resolve to extend its sitting time. Aware that standing order number 27, sub-order 4, requires a motion to extend sitting time to be moved at least 30 minutes before the time appointed of adjournment. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the motion that the House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business of the day is completed. Honorable Speaker, I want to call Honorable Kaviu to second my motion. Thank you.
Mheshimiwa, you may finish your statement. Thank you. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa, kindly take your seat shortly. I now propose the question that this House resolves to extend its sitting time until the business of the day is concluded. I now invite members to debate the motion. I now put the question that this House resolved to extend its sitting time until the business of the day is concluded. As many are of the opinion say aye. As many are of the contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Next order, I call Honorable Ndwiki. You finish your statement.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. I had already finished reading the answer to the statement, and I don't have much to add because this is a serious matter that I wish you can allow members of this assembly to ventilate on it because it's affecting not only Mudwani, but the whole Machakos. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Before we ventilate on it, Honorable Maitha had sixth this statement, and I wanted him to tell us whether it is of his satisfactory. And he has stepped out. The Deputy Minority Leader, you have something to say.
Madam Speaker, maybe for clarity, for a statement, when it is sought, the committee is only mandated to respond and bring the response from the department. So there is no much we can debate on it. It's only for the member who had sought the statement to confirm whether he's satisfied, and in case he's not, that is when now we can proceed and seek other avenues to address the same. So a statement is normally supposed to be a response from the responsibility party or office that had been asked the question. Thank you.
Thank you, DML. The seeker of the statement had stepped out. Mheshimiwa Mwanga, you have something?
Madam Speaker, allow me, like the previous members, congratulate you on your position. I want to say we cannot say anything or debate on this statement until the seeker of the statement has said whether it is satisfactory or not. And because now he has come, he is back in the House, I think it is prudent that you allow him to respond so that we can know what to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Masinga Central 001. Honorable Maitha, you had seeked this statement, so we wanted you to tell us whether it is of satisfactory to you, what the Committee on Lands have just...
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm sorry, I had to answer to a call that was needed urgent attention. Madam Speaker, I'm not satisfied with the response. When the department says that they are facing challenges in uploading the supplementary budget, Madam Speaker, that is a flimsy excuse. We passed the supplementary budget over 2 months ago before we proceeded on recess.
Sorry, Mheshimiwa.
Sorry, it's acceptable, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
I'm saying this, the response that I'm not satisfied with the response with the department. Madam Speaker, it's unfortunate that there are departments that are taking us for granted. Madam Speaker, when a department says that they are facing challenges in uploading the budget, which challenges, Madam Speaker? The Exchequer has been releasing funds, and they are not facing problems in utilizing the funds, but they are facing problems in uploading the budget. Madam Speaker, before we proceeded on the compulsory recess, that was in December, early December last year. That's when we passed the supplementary budget. We are in the month of March. Madam Speaker, do you want to tell me that since then, there is no program that has been uploaded in the supplementary budget that is already been implemented, Madam Speaker? That's a pure lie, Madam Speaker. And once enough, Madam Speaker, the department is not giving any commitments whatsoever. Madam Speaker, I can tell this honorable house, Mudhwani Ward, as per the records which were received in the Department of Energy Committee, has got only one single lighting that has been erected by the county government of Machakos since devolution came to be. Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate with the revenue potential in Mudhwani Ward, the government is giving us raw deals. So, Madam Speaker, when the department is saying that they are facing challenges in uploading the system, that is a pure lie. And this department needs now to wake up from its slumber. We cannot continue getting such kind of responses, yet the entire account, not even in Mudhwani Ward, is in total darkness. There is no commitment from the statement. It is a general statement that once they, I'm not satisfied with the statement, Madam Speaker, and Mudhwani Ward residents going forward will not accept to be treated as not mere residents of Machakos County. Katani included, which gives this county more than 100 million in every month, has got no single, not even one, lighting from the county government of Machakos. Other than the Mlikamwizi Joska, Kidongori itself only received 2 solar street lights, and they are not even functioning right now. They are off, Madam Speaker. This is a very rare and raw statement response, and I need substantive response by the department on the answers that I sought, so that the people of Mudhwani Ward can enjoy the value for money and the taxes that they pay and the fruits of devolution, Madam Speaker. I'm not satisfied.
Thank you. The Chair for Lands, the seeker of the statement is not yet satisfied with the answers and the statement. So I refer back the statement to the Committee on Lands and Energy to be reported back by 16th of April. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Approval of motion on freezing of recruitment by the County Public Service Board.
I call Honorable Francis Kaviu, member for Kinanie Ward, who is also the Deputy Minority Leader. You come forward and give your motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that aware that Article 174A and Roman 1 of the Constitution provides that the objects of devolution of government are to promote democratic, accountable exercise of power and to enhance checks and balances and the separation of powers. Further aware that Article 183(3) of the Constitution mandates the county assemblies to exercise oversight over the county executive committee and any other county executive organs, whilst respecting the principle of separation of powers. Honorable Speaker, appreciating that Section 107 of the Public Finance Act 2012 says that a county treasury shall manage its public finances in accordance with the principle of fiscal responsibility set out and shall not exceed the limit stated in the regulations. Acknowledging that Regulation 25(1) of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulations provides that A, the County Executive Committee member with approval of the County Assembly shall set a limit on the county government's expenditure on the wages and benefits for its public officers pursuant to Section 107(2) of the Act. B, the limit set under paragraph A above shall not exceed 35% of the county government's total revenue. Honorable Speaker, aware that the county budget review and outlook paper for the financial year 2023-2024 report, which was tabled and approved by this House on 26 February 2025, stated that the overall county bill stands at 49% against the set legal limit of 35%. Further aware that this is contravention of the law and breach of fiscal responsibility strategies. Honorable Speaker, cognizant of the fact that according to the Auditor General's report on the County Executive of Machakos for the financial year 2023-2024, Kenya shillings 487,009,214 for the salaries was paid outside the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Database, IPPD, system in the month of June 2024. In addition, review of the June 2024 monthly payroll data revealed that 2 employees shared a bank account. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that these houses discusses and approves that the county government of Machakos, 1, freezes recruitment of personnel, including the recently advertised position of administrators, until a comprehensive staff audit is done and report presented and recommendation made by this assembly. 2, presents to the assembly a list of the county staff paid outside the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Database, IPPD, system, including details of the job description. Madam Speaker, as you are aware, before I provide further detail, I wish to call Honorable Brian Kisila to second the motion.
Thank you. I now propose the question that this House discusses and approves that the county government of Machakos, 1, freezes recruitment of personnel, including the recently advertised positions of village administrators, until a comprehensive staff audit is done, report presented and recommendations made by this assembly. 2, presents the assembly a list of the county staff paid outside the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Database, IPPD, system, including details of the job description. Yeah, so I allow the mover first to ventilate on your motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I was saying, we are living in a times when we have competing priorities. And Madam Speaker, one of the role of the County Public Service Board is to advise the county executive or the governor on the issues of human resource planning and management, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as it's clear, on various cases it has been noted that as a county, we are in violation of the minimum set limit of 35%. But Madam Speaker, despite the constant reports and communication from the Auditor General, Madam Speaker, we are still recruiting. And for instance, if you take the case of the village administrators, Madam Speaker, we are only supposed to recruit on need basis. So, Madam Speaker, we fail to understand. We have active village administrators who are employed procedurally. So, Madam Speaker, it beats logic, and we would like to get an explanation what role the new village administrators are they going to be playing? Because this appears to be a duplication of role. And secondly, Madam Speaker, those who will be deployed to those other departments, the current serving village administrators, we would also like the minister and the chair county public service board to come out and explain what role are they going to play in the departments those they have been deployed to, because it means for a worker to be moved from one department to another, or for us to get an additional workforce, it means there must be a vacancy and there must be a budget for the same. And Madam Speaker, the reason we are at 49% is because of the irregular employments that is happening. So, Madam Speaker, we want to understand, are we employing based on need, or is just a decision that the board wakes up and decide we want to add additional staff? And Madam Speaker, because of recruiting without proper planning, that could be what is contributing for Machakos County government to be paying almost to $500 million shilling outside the integrated payment system, the payroll and personnel, which is illegal. So, Madam Speaker, we want also to understand this 487 million that is being paid outside the system that has been approved to play that role. What are their role? Who are they serving? And what is the challenge that we have workers 10 years down the line who have not been integrated into the payroll system? This might be the ghost workers that we always keep talking about. Because if you have been employed procedurally, it means the budget was there and your details have been captured correctly in our integrated system so that you not need to be paid manually. So, do we have cashiers? Or who are these people who are being paid almost $500 million shilling outside the recommended system? So, Madam Speaker, this is an exercise that needs to stop, because we have additional and many competing needs. Our people want medicine in the hospitals. We want better roads for our people. There is deficit and a gap in provision of water. So, Madam Speaker, if the person in charge of Treasury and the chairperson county public service cannot up their socks in their role of providing better and accurate advisory to the executive, head of executive is the governor, then these issues will continue to reoccur and we'll continue losing money. And we have one business, delivering to our people. And that can only happen if we have sufficient or available resources. So, Madam Speaker, we wish to request that we meet the 30-70 rule, where we need to have the full 30% that is mandated for development going to that. Because if we are at 47%, it means that even our budget, either we'll have to keep readjusting our budget to a higher threshold so that we meet the 70, or it means that, but even if we increase our budget allocation, at the end of the day, the real money will not be available for the development works that is intended. And finally, Madam Speaker, if you remember, immediately the third government of Machakos came into power, there was a human resource audit or task force that was tasked with giving us a report and ensuring that the people who are working for this county have a role and they have a clear job description. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether it is still incomplete, but Madam Speaker, if you allow, we'll also want to get that task force report on human resource so that we can understand where we are and who is working for this county, and whether we are getting value for the money that we are paying as to our staff. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I now invite members to debate the motion. Honorable Chair for DU, Honorable Brian Kisila.
Madam Speaker, first of all, I'd like to congratulate you for you sitting on the high seat, and you are looking very elegant in it. So, as my mother, I'm very proud of you. Now, Madam Speaker, I stand here to support the motion. We need money for development. And we have been, every report of budget committee has been talking about 30% for development, 70% for recurrent. But when I looked at this report from Auditor General, I am very, very worried. How do you pay almost 500 million shillings outside the payroll? How do you... The report is also talking about unsupported staff recruitment of almost 530 officers. This is very serious. 530 officers have been recruited without any supporting document. The same report is talking about lack of an approved staff establishment. We have got 6,535 employees, but we don't have an established, an approved staff establishment. This means, as a county, we are operating on autopilot. And we need money for development as a county, and they still, apart from this, they still want to recruit additional members of village administrators, when even we don't have enough staff for our healthcare. So we need to rationalize employees' recruitment. We need to have a very well thought out recruitment plan. And we need to ensure that we have curtailed haphazard recruitment of people so that money can be channeled to the right cause. So, Madam Speaker, I am in support of this motion. And also I'm in support of this motion that, in fact, if members can read the auditor's report, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked by the way things are being done in Machakos County. Our report is unqualified, and there are very serious issues. In fact, I want us to spare some time, although we have a committee on that, and I don't know if they are sleeping on the job, why they are sleeping on the job. We need a very detailed analysis of that report tabled in this assembly for us to deliberate on it and be able to come up with a detailed action plan on the way forward. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Member for Kibauni, Honorable Don.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Paul Wambua, representing the good people of Kibauni Ward. Madam Speaker, governments are created for posterity. And governments are there to serve generations and not only to serve a particular purpose that ends within a specified time. I stand here to support the motion that has been brought by the Honorable Member for Kinanie, Madatani Ward, and state that if you look at the kind of recruitments that have been done, and probably what the auditor, the report of the Auditor General points out in their report, the almost 500 billion that is paid outside the integrated system, the people who are paid those monies, we should ask ourselves, what do they do? When were they recruited? Madam Speaker, we need to be honest with ourselves. When I look at that big number of workers, 500 and something, that is paid outside the integrated system, I want to assume, and Madam Speaker, here I'm just assuming, and I hope that is not the truth, that these are the people who are employed to help this county in revenue collection. But Madam Speaker, if you look at what they do, revenue collection is just a cloud that covers what exactly they do. I look at postings that are done by the communications team, maybe in the executive. And if you have people from your area working as revenue officers, those are the same people who work as bloggers. Madam Speaker, if we employed bloggers instead of people to help us in building this county, then we are doing very poorly. Madam Speaker, I'll also look at how these people were recruited, because as per the Auditor General, the 500 that have no supporting documents, how did we recruit? Did we handpick? What were the levels of nepotism and who knows who in those recruitments? Because I can assure you, I know everyone who has been employed by this county in Kibaoni Ward. And I know they were not employed on the basis of their qualifications. They were employed based on who knows who recommends who, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this county and the Public Service Board has committed crimes against the Constitution of Kenya, Madam Speaker, and the County Government Act. There are people who are called ward admins, others sub-county admins. If you look at the spirit and letter of our Constitution, these people are supposed to be hired to be the institutional memory of the government, Madam Speaker. I have, in my 40+ years, not heard of a DC or a DO who is the equivalent of the sub-county admin employed on contract terms, Madam Speaker. Are we looking at a 5-year term? What happens, for instance, if the people of Machakos decide to change the governor? Will the new governor also come in and hire other sub-county admins, some other ward admins? And we have hired these people in complete disregard of the law. I know of a ward admin who is over 60 years old, Madam Speaker. A sub-county admin, sorry. Why are we giving 60-year-olds jobs when my youths in Kibaoni want jobs? Those youths in Kibaoni are very highly qualified. Those youths in all this in the whole of the county are highly qualified, Madam Speaker. This is the situation we find ourselves in. And I can assure you, whatever we are discussing today is tied to financial crimes, which were supposed to be answered yesterday by the CCM that we were supposed to meet yesterday, CCM Finance, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish the move of this motion also went further and sought to understand how these jobs are distributed, Madam Speaker. I know very well that the spirit of the county is to have equal opportunities for everyone, equal opportunities for every ward. How many people have been hired per ward, for instance? I wish the move of this motion would have included that, Madam Speaker. I support that for now, we do not need any more employees in this county. What we need, Madam Speaker, are lights in our markets so that our people can work 24 hours. What we need, Madam Speaker, is not even grading roads. We need to maram our roads, Madam Speaker. Personally, I call grading a recurrent expenditure because every time you grade a road, it rains, you have to grade it again. The solution to our roads is maraming those roads, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have a shortage of health workers. I have a health center in Dongo, in Kibaoni Ward, which has only one employee. When they go on leave, when they get sick, then people are not treated. Those are the key people that we should be hiring. I have ECD centers in Kibaoni, Madam Speaker, which do not have qualified teachers employed by the county government, Madam Speaker. That is where we should be focusing on. Not people who are hired as ward admins, as village admins. And their role we know very clearly because we've seen it. Their role is to come and counter what these good MCS are doing. Madam Speaker, I support the motion, and further, we need to ask more questions. I know of revenue officers who are revenue officers at the county level. Madam Speaker, today they sit home, they are paid by this county because some new people were hired. Where are we headed to? How are we using the public resources that we are entrusted with? Madam Speaker, I support the motion, and I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Ndwiki, member from Lolongo Syokimau.
We understand that there is a lot of unemployment in our, not only in the Machakos County, but also in our country. But Madam Speaker, as we try to cut the gap of the unemployed citizens, Madam Speaker, there must be the rule of the law. In that exercise, Madam Speaker, and my attention was caught on the amount of money paid to the workers in Machakos who are not in the IPPD, Madam Speaker. How can you fail to put employees to their systems? That's a question that you should ask as honorable members, Madam Speaker, because we believe if you are account officer, if you are account employee, you should be officially, you should be in the system. So if those employees were needed, what was the reason for them not to be put in the system? That should be the first question, Madam Speaker. Also in the matter of employment, Madam Speaker, we are happy when our people are employed. But Madam Speaker, we won't be happy if they are employed at the expense of development, Madam Speaker. Because, Madam Speaker, the report stated clearly that we have 49% of the recurrent or of the employees who are paid. And the law says that it should be 35. Now we are at 49 as per the report. And we want to hunt more, Madam Speaker. And the law is made clear. Because, Madam Speaker, this government of Machakos should follow the law. As long as you want to do good, as long as you want to please the people, just please them or do the good within the law, within the perimeters of the law, Madam Speaker. Because, Madam Speaker, if we allow this trend, we may find ourselves at 70%, at 60%, at the expense of the development. And I want to give you an example, Madam Speaker. For example, in Mlolongo, if we have a good market structures, a good place for people to do market in Mlolongo, Madam Speaker, that market may contain thousands of jobless youths. So the single market in Mlolongo can provide employment or business opportunities for thousands or hundreds of youth. But if the money to control the market is used to employ more employees to the county, Madam Speaker, this will have negative effect to our people, Madam Speaker. So I support this motion, Madam Speaker. We need to caution whatever we are doing in this county because members of public are watching, Madam Speaker. And as the previous speaker said, Madam Speaker, we want to know the transparent. Who are those people? For example, currently there is no vacuum in the village administrators. There is no village without an official. And now we want to employ another exact number of the same village administrators, Madam Speaker. So, it's good that before some action are taken, we are informed. Are the present ward administrators not active in their job? Are they not performing? Are they not qualified? Are they not performing? When we want to put other employees on top of other employees. It's just like saying that let us go and campaign and have other MCS, Fort Machakos, and the current MCS are deployed to other functions of the county. So the current administrators must be given an opportunity to perform. And if there are cases of the unperforming, the report should be brought in this house, Madam Speaker. We discuss and we adopt. So, if at all the action is for the good of this county, as members of the county assembly and the representatives of the people, we need to know. We need to be explained. We need a report here. That is acceptable. And if the report comes with the good, so that will convince honorable members that there is need for that. We know the problem. But now as it stands, we cannot allow the wench bill to grow further and further. I support the motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Ndaka.
Congratulations, Madam Speaker. I think I am standing to support first the motion. Because, Madam Speaker, this house, Madam Speaker, we are here to make and to enhance the government follow the Constitution fully. And, Madam Speaker, we have at least 3 reports. One from the Finance Committee, second one from the Budget Committee, and third one from the Auditor General. And all the reports are citing that we are past 35%. Madam Speaker, I now thank this House officially for stopping the appetite of employing more people with no purpose or reason, which will going to bring back a good delivery to our people. So, Madam Speaker, we are not here to attack anybody, but we are here to support the Constitution and enhance proper implementation of what the Constitution do say. So, Madam Speaker, as we stand here, we were elected by our people to come and represent their interest. Madam Speaker, as what the Honorable from Kinani have said, Madam Speaker, we have a lot of ghost workers moving from one club to another, shouting for us if we try to do our oversight, Madam Speaker. And yet, we are standing here watching as the government trying to go past 52%, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, it is now my appeal to the executive. to come clean and stop this appetite and allow the current village managers to continue with their work. So, Madam Speaker, it is my appeal, and I'm beseeching the head of the executive to follow the law correctly. Thank you very much.
Chair for Health.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to congratulate you, just as my colleagues have, in assuming that role today. Only to caution what the Honorable Majority Leader said, that you can become anything. Honorable Speaker, I would have wished that he would add, you can become anything good, not just anything. Honorable Speaker, I realize that nobody noticed that, and I wanted to correct it for the record, that we cannot open a chance where you become anything. Otherwise, you might become the wrong thing. We must encourage you to become something good.
Power of the tongue. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I must associate myself with this motion that my colleague has tabled before this House. I did question through a statement several months ago concerning the ballooning wage bill. The statement was brought to this House, and I said it wasn't satisfactory. It was referred to the Committee of Labor, but it has never, the response has never come. I believe through this motion, then that which I sought shall be accomplished. Honorable Speaker, I also want to say the following, that what we are discussing here is a statutory requirement in law. It is not a matter of loyalty. It is not a test of which side you support. It is a test of whether a government can adhere to what the law says. If the law says that 35%, and this is a ratio, the overall county bill should be at 35%. That is what the law says. And severally, we have not met that obligation. We can cite many reasons. One of them is because we always fall short in our revenue collection. And some of those questions in regards to revenue collection were to be answered in the session that was supposed to be handled yesterday. But be it as it may, that did not happen. We also need to ask the other question. Is the hiring that is being proposed, is it a necessary hiring to the extent that we cannot do without those staff who are being hired? My answer is no. It is not an emergency hiring. It is not an emergency to handle a situation whereby we are saying there is nobody qualified enough to handle that matter. Honorable Speaker, we have ward and village administrators in place as at now. The belief that we should replace them would simply mean that the wage bill will be expanded. Honorable Speaker, I have 5 sublocations in my ward. If we take an average of 7
sub-locations across the county. That will show you that we are hiring in excess of 300 people. Where will those who are holding those positions go? Do we have the budget for that extra hiring? Here, we are forced to ask the fundamental question: where are our priorities? As a government, our priorities should be to enhance development and to minimize expenditure. As a matter of fact, today if you go to many corporate institutions, they have decided not to hire, but to outsource. Instead of hiring a sweeper, they decide to outsource cleaning services because they want to be prudent in their budgeting. The government, whereas we have an obligation to serve our people and to help them acquire jobs and to create jobs for that matter, let us not create jobs at the expense of real development. I do believe that the government has a responsibility to create an environment through which business can thrive, through which talent can thrive, through which exceptional capabilities in the populace can prevail. But when we say that we want to hire just for the sake of hiring, we continue to operate outside the law. And when I read the scriptures, the Bible asks a question: are we going to stay in sin for grace to abound? No. The answer is no. Honorable Speaker, we cannot continue offending the Constitution, offending the law, instead of striving to align ourselves with the law. This action does not satisfy the threshold of constitutionalism. Therefore, I support this motion 100%. Not because I don't want people to be employed, but because I would rather have a proper infrastructure in the county. Because through a better infrastructure, many people will find employment elsewhere. In fact, according to the UN Charter, the government is never an employer. The government has a responsibility to create an environment whereby now investors can thrive and they become the sources of employment of our people. Let us give water to the woman in Chawango village who struggles to get water every morning. Let us give medicine to that old woman, to that old man who is struggling to get insulin for his or her diabetic case. And yet, SHA has failed the people. Let us create a fund through which vocational training institutions can thrive. Let us expand the education mandate so that we can include capitation for those youth who want to pursue courses in the vocational training. Let us equip those vocational centers so that our youth can acquire skills which they can use to sustain their lives. Honorable Speaker, creating a job is okay, but creating the environment is better. And I want to thank members of this House for rising up to the occasion and to guide in a better way and to pronounce ourselves in a better way. The public are watching and they are asking, what is the County Assembly of Machakos doing? What are members saying? Every question in regards to how government is working is always directed to the House of Representatives. If a government does not perform well, the elected representative of the people are put on account. Honorable Speaker, while we gave the executive 2.5 years plus to acquaint themselves with governance, I think it is the time now to say where we are coming from, and where we want to go. That does not amount to fighting government. That does not amount to opposing government. What is loyalty? Honorable Speaker, I will be loyal to you if I tell you this way is wrong. I will not be loyal to you if I watch you go in a bad way and I keep quiet. If we are loyal to our people, if we are loyal to the government that we have established, let us tell them that some of these routes that you are following are not good for the people. And by so doing, our people will get the best from their elected representatives. So that now a question will not be asked like it was asked. In a local radio station, a question was put, Mr. Chief of Staff, is it true that some of the officers hired do not have the proper academic qualifications? He said that is the work of the county assembly to determine. If it is the work of the assembly to determine, I do agree, then let the assembly rise up to that occasion to determine. Finally, Honorable Speaker, 2 years we did interrogate the ADP. I was with my colleagues at the Committee of Health. And what we saw coming from the department was shame that cannot be expressed. And I asked them, if your technical people can mislead you, what you will do is that they will mislead the chief officer. And the chief officer will mislead the CEC. And the CEC will mislead the governor. Who will rescue the people? Nobody. Therefore, let us have a collaborative oversight whereby we tell the executive this initiative is good, but it is not good for the moment. Hiring people is good, but it is not good at this moment. Giving people jobs is good, but it is not good at this moment when people are struggling with life. Honorable Speaker, as we are speaking today, many roads are not passable. As we are speaking today, in my ward, I fund the maintenance of street lights. That is a government responsibility, not my responsibility. Let us first satisfy those issues of importance to the people, and then we can go to the other issues that we might need to achieve. I do support this motion, and I urge my colleagues to support this motion so that we can provide direction for this great county. I thank you, and God bless you.
Honorable Mwanga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for catching my eye. Madam Speaker, I want to start by saying that a cat that dreams of becoming a lion must lose its appetite for rats. Members, what is happening here? I can see a lot of cats who want or who have a dream of becoming lions. And I want to congratulate my colleagues before they are coming out.
Point order. Point of order, Madam Speaker. Point of order, Madam Speaker. Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, while you're in that seat, we require that you concentrate 100%. But I know you're learning the ropes. Is it in order for the Honorable from Masinga Central to call us to say he's seeing a lot of cats? I am not seeing any cat in the house. I would want him to substantiate, please.
Madam Speaker, it's just a quote. It's just a quote. Yes, it's just a quote.
There's a point of order from Honorable Vincent.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I like
point of order or point of
information?
It's a point of
information. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a point of order. I'd like to refer you to Standing Order number 79, that any member rising up on a point of order must quote the point of order that has been offended. The Majority Leader has said, point of order, Honorable Speaker, point of order. When he rose, he never pointed out which standing order has been offended by the Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'd like also to draw your attention to Standing Order number 87. It's about the statement of facts. If the member can substantiate what he has said, then I think that has no problem. I do believe it is a matter of speaking in imagery.
Point of order 87, Madam Speaker.
Well substantiated by my colleague.
Point of order 87, Madam
Honorable
Speaker.
Mwanga, the Majority Leader, has a point of order. I don't know whether it's a point of order or point of information.
Point of order. I rise on Standing Order number
Yes,
87
thank you.
on a statement of facts. I wish, through your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, not Madam Speaker, that the member for Masinga Central actually substantiate whether it's a statement of facts that we have cats in the house. Thank you.
Yes,
Madam Speaker, let's not dwell on this issue for long. I said it is a quote.
But
I said it is a
have
quote.
cats in the house. I think it's not also parliamentary. Mheshimiwa, you better withdraw it with a lot of facts.
Of information.
Kindly withdraw.
Madam Speaker, withdrawing, it won't mean anything. I will only change the menu, but the facts will remain. But honorable members, I do withdraw.
Thank you. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
But say this. Not quoting members now. A cat that has a dream of becoming a lion must lose its appetite for it. I think now I'm okay. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the honorable member for Kinani Madatani Ward, for coming up with this motion. Madam Speaker, as you may be aware, I'm the chair labor. And I feel being between a rock and a hard place. Because the issues being raised by these members are very true. Madam Speaker, these honorable members and ours, we should be asking ourselves, where did the rain start beating us? This started immediately. We were elected and sworn to be members of this house. Madam Speaker, majority of these employees we are asking, who are they? These members know who are they. They are political bloggers, and they were the initially called coordinators. Now they have been baptized to be members of GDU. But this is a structure which is not in the current government structure. We should be asking ourselves, how did we accept them to be employees of the county government? Madam Speaker, when you look at these people called GDU, that is Government Delivery Unit, Previously, they campaigned for this government. And they had to be rewarded, if I may say so. And that is why you find that. And I want to give an example. Not giving names, because I'm not supposed by the standing orders bars me from mentioning somebody or naming somebody who cannot depend herself or himself before the house. I want to give an example of some sub-count government delivery unit members who are above 70 years of age. I want to give an example of one in Mwala. I'm not naming names, but members, those who come from Mwala can attest to what I'm saying. This gentleman is over 70 years. We have another one in Imua Ward who is also above 70 years. Let's go to Masinga Central Ward where I represent. And the same people, like those from Masinga. One is the sub-count government delivery unit officer. We have a ward government delivery unit officer, and they both sit in the lands board. They are getting salary here, and their names have been forwarded, and they are members, and they have been sworn in to be members of the lands board to earn allowances there. Members, I know we are live. The proceedings is live, and our youths are watching. But we are not saying it is wrong to employ, but the right procedures and the right people should be given these job opportunities. I'm saying that instead of employing people who have already been discharged from the national government due to age, we should be employing our youths. And before we employ, are we following the right procedure? If yes, I don't think we have a lot of problem in that. But the truth is that we are not following the right procedure. Members, I'm saying this as the chairman Labour. I've interacted with the board members. And I want to say it here. They always tell me our hands are tied. We are just getting orders. I want to tell you they advertise for vacancies, not due to vacancies which have risen, but because they have been taught and advertised this category of people. And the question here is, like most of the previous members have said, already the previous government employed ward admins and the village admins. What is the need of employing other new village and the ward admins? Where will the existing ones go? If today I saw an advert and I applied to be a ward admin, it means that is where I can fit most. Why am I being transferred to the Minister of Tourism, to the Minister of Agriculture, where I have no knowledge? I think, members, this is the time.
There's a point of information, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to get clarification from Mheshimiwa Monga, our chair, Labour. You spoke about county administrators.
Madam Speaker, the honorable member said, that is why I sat down. He said he wanted to give information. Now he's seeking clarification.
Mheshimiwa, you can't be upstanding, both of you.
Okay.
Let Honorable Ellen finish.
Let me clarify. All the time I thought once you employ people, you employ them with a term of limit of service. These members, you are saying that were in the previous government and they are still serving. Did they have a letter giving them a contract of service? Is it 10 years? Is it 5 years? Because we can't talk about members who have moved from one regime to the other. We need to know whether they are working on service. Do they have a contract?
Speaker,
Madam Speaker.
Information, Chair Labour,
Madam Speaker, please.
The DML.
I may not accept the point of information,
Yes,
but I want to respond to what the immediate speaker said. She rose on a point of information, but she has not informed me of anything. She's just asking. I think you should rule on that. Was it a point of information or she was seeking clarification?
I think it was clarification. It was more of a question, Mheshimiwa Ellen. I don't know, it's a point of information. Or you are informing the honorable member
Madam Speaker,
on the same...
Madam Speaker, I think I was informing the member on of the chair of Labour that he needs to tell us whether these members were employed on contract, or whether their contracts are ongoing or they're expired. You know, it's
Madam Speaker, I think you should rule out of order so that we can continue.
Now every hand is up. Honorable Chair for Labour, you proceed and finish your...
Thank you. That one automatically rules out of order. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what I was saying, as an assembly, we have known where things started going wrong. And I raised these issues. I'm supporting this motion 100% and say we should not duplicate positions. If we have ward administrators, village administrators, let's stick with those ones. And we better employ for other new vacancies, but not for vacancies which are already been filled. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Yes, I would want your attention because you are the speaker. Maybe I'll allow the clerk to finish with you, and then I can continue. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what we're speaking about is something that cuts across the whole country, not only Machakos County. Neither did it start with the term of when we came into office. Even before we came into office, the 35% limit was still higher. So it's not a problem that you can really tie with any regime. It is a problem that cuts across. However, the law is clear, and we must be seen to be working towards ensuring that we get to the level the laws allow. Looking at the motion at hand, we are grappling with development vis-a-vis other issues. And most of the time, when we were looking to be elected, we were very much keen on what we are going to do to our people, including employment. But when I went out, most of the time I told people, I'll make sure the boreholes are functioning, I'll make sure the roads are good, I'll make sure the hospitals are equipped, such things. And of course, we continue to be asked for employment on a daily basis by our people. But then we need to strike a balance. And I want to agree with the Honorable Vincent that he said we need to look ourselves as more of a service provider and creating an enabling environment for other people to create employment. So we will support the executive to do that. But I also want to say this, and it has to go on the record. When we say the executive, I want us to be more specific. Let us also hold people accountable. When you say the executive, it looks like we are lumping everyone in the same basket. It is high time we held individual CCM accountable or individual departments accountable. Because it is looking like when we speak about these issues, it's like we are attacking the executive. We are not. And so that it doesn't look like it's an attack, let us make sure we are talking about a specific department. And I know, Madam Speaker, you are going to rule on this matter, and you are going to be inviting people who are supposed to bring the threshold down in this assembly to ask them question why it is not being done. The other fundamental question we must ask is, we have already people working for the county government of Machakos. But does the county government of Machakos feel the value for their money, the money they pay these employees? I keep saying, when I go outside in Machakos Central Ward, I see a lot of people wearing yellow jackets branded Machakos County Government Revenue. If you look at how much they earn in terms of salaries and allowances, can they justify the amount also they collect on behalf of the government? Because if their salaries and allowances and all emolument is higher than what they collect, then they don't need to be in employment. That is what I'm saying. We are also saying, if we have water engineers and their collective effort to ensure our people drink the actual water is not bearing fruit, we must question why we are paying these water engineers. We must also be cautious, to have so many people and so little output. And I say this with a lot of humility, because for 19 and a half years, I was a civil servant. I know some members of staff in the executive are working extremely hard. But maybe, because I have been cautioned by Engineer Vincent to always talk of facts. But maybe there are people who are in the establishment, but they do not work, they do not put in a good shift so that our people get the services. So that is why when Her Excellency Governor came in, she commissioned a staff audit to see who we have as a county, what are they doing, and whether we still do we still need that service, or it is absolute. So I'm begging that even as we propose freeze of employment, that document be brought to this house and be committed to the relevant committee, so that we also talk from a position of information, so that we are able to talk from information point of information. So that is one of the things I may want to ask. Lastly, every institution, both private and public, they have a point of elasticity in terms of how many people you can employ. I run a small business, and everybody comes to me telling me, niajiri hapa kwako. They attach the small business with me, and when I was campaigning, I used to tell them, nitawaajiri nyinyi what? So they say, na si hata uko na hii biashara sio niajiri. But when I look at my mathematics, it is not possible, because I am at the, nime stretch kabisa. Yes, I am almost breaking. So what we are saying, or what we are advising is, even Machakos County government cannot employ everyone. Cannot employ everyone. And we feel as an assembly, we are at a point of elasticity. We are at the final point of elasticity, and we beg that they take this with the seriousness it deserves. We first of all take stock of what we have. We already know where we are coming from. So we want to know where we are, so that we are able to plan for the future that is more efficient. I want to say, when Donald Trump came into power, he quickly formed a department called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. And one of the areas that Elon Musk has dug deep is federal employees. What do you do on a daily basis? It's what you are doing on a daily basis, helping us as a nation. So it's a high time also we ask the relevant department of the county executive to question whether what the output of every employee is feeding into the overall goal of service delivery to our people. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Lloyd, your hand was up.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulations.
Thank you.
October 2022, the Governor commissioned several task forces. And from my record here, on July 6, 2023, the Governor received human resource audit, pending bills audit, motor vehicles audit, infrastructure audit. Today, we are on the human resource audit. And when we do human resource audit, one, among many reasons, is to establish the compliance with the laws and regulations. I do not think with the current employment we're still doing, we are trying to comply with the law. I do not think so. Number two, we are told when we are doing human resource audit, I just want to pick a few of them. Number two, cost optimization. And I would like to know, now this report costed us money. What Mheshimiwa Kinani wants us to do is trying to get his report. What he wants us to do is almost the same, to do the same investigation. Yet, the report, the tax force report, the chair Liba hasn't seen it. So, the best thing that should happen now, as we continue, is an assembly to have that report, because that report has already costed our tax to have that report. Going with another investigation, while we don't know what happened with that report, is continuing wasting our resources. Can we have that report first? Analyze what that task force found out, if really they found gaps. Because from the committee, where I see the Committee of Finance, we approved a very big number, over 450 employees to be employed for the revenue collection. But we don't see that effect on what is being collected. Do we need them? So if the task force report the governor was given can't help us know the gap. I remember when we were coming, we were told of employees who had fake documents. We had ghost workers. It was saying like there were so many. And I would like to disagree on one issue that our mom was asking Mheshimiwa Mwanga. Were these people employed and like a contract or something? Yes. If they didn't, why are they in the office then? It means they end. So we can, if they hand a contract work, these people should work for the people of Machakos and the government that is here now. We cannot abandon the county by employing the same person to do the same job. What would they be doing? Nothing. So the priority that we should have now is a tax report on the human audit that was done, so that we know what is happening in the county, how many people are identified to be employed irregularly, how many ghost workers we had, and if really we are enough to employ some more people. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And through that, Honorable Lloyd, I think you should seek a statement on the task force report. Thank you. Honorable Maitha. Honorable Bahati.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and the honorable members for your patience. I want to take this exceptional recognition and appreciation to the honorable member for Kenani for finding it needful to bring this motion in the floor of this House. At the onset, I want to second and support the motion, Madam Speaker, with the following reasons. Madam Speaker, you know, sometimes you can ask yourself why people gave the opportunity to come and serve them, to come and become an advocate for their rights, to come and become an advocate for their needs. Madam Speaker, as I said yesterday, Article 1 of the Constitution is very clear about what is supposed to be done by who and what. This assembly today is a constitutional creation, body created by the Constitution, and that requires to abide by the Constitution. Madam Speaker, we are speaking on a very delicate matter that has got both pros and cons in terms of us as honorable members, both elected and nominated, as a government. But we have to bite the bullet, Madam Speaker. And I want to go on record today to the residents of Mudhwani Ward who elected me, and I promised them jobs, Madam Speaker. It might not be possible for me to provide those jobs that I provided because the Constitution tells me I have a threshold of 35% that I should not exceed. But today, I'm operating on 51%. The residents of Mudhwani Ward every single day call me asking for good roads, asking for Mulika Mwizis, asking for health centers, asking for, all manners of promises that we gave them, Madam Speaker. But if I will continue doing the unconstitutional things, violating the Constitution, so that I can please Madam Speaker, I think I will be the wrong person. I will be the wrong leader. One key role of this assembly, Madam Speaker, is to ensure that we abide to the Constitution, uphold what the Constitution says, and ensure that we are agencies of ensuring that what the Constitution says is upheld and implemented. Madam Speaker, we received 2 reports here the last 1 week. The report on the Committee of Budget and the report on the Committee of Finance. And I would not like, Madam Speaker, to go to the nitty-gritties of the report, but I want to vent out just one issue that forms the basis of discussions of today's agenda about the issues of a ballooning wage bill. Madam Speaker, honestly, the 2 sectoral committees have said our wage bill is at 49%. Yet, the constitutional threshold says that we should not exceed that 5%. I tend to disagree with the majority leader when he says it's a practice in the entire world or in the country. No, we are specifically talking about Machakos County government, where as legislators, we have the oversight role to ensure that we do our legislative and oversight role. Madam Speaker, the Auditor General's report that was brought in this house, the committee reports that were brought in this house, we're not talking of Makueni County, we're not talking of Kirinyaga County, we're not talking of any other counties in this country. It was specifically talking about Machakos County and Machakos County government. So we need to be very specific about what the reports are received here and which entity we should hold accountable. Madam Speaker, the County Public Service Board in Machakos County, established under the County Government of Act, is very clearly, its mandates are clearly stipulated. Madam Speaker, in the year 2022-23, we sent home a County Public Service Board in entirety that had usurped their powers, failed to adhere to constitutional requirements, and that's why this found assembly found them guilty of that accusations. And we didn't send them home, Madam Speaker. Today, we cannot point fingers to the executive. The executive does not employ. The sole constitutional responsibility of employment is vested with the County Public Service Board or the various county governments. In the national government, it is under the public service, Madam Speaker. We cannot hold the executive responsible for problems that are emanating from a board that is constitutionally created, Madam Speaker.
Information, Chair Labour.
When I was submitting, maybe my brother had walked out. And in my submission, it was very clear that I'm the Chair Labour. And I do, and you also sit in that committee. The information I want to give is that the board has clearly and openly stated that they don't employ on a needy basis, but they are coerced to do that. Who does the coercion? The answer is as good as mine.
Madam Speaker, standing order number 87 is very straightforward. Statement of facts. This house is not a house of hearsay. This is not a house of, this is not a market where you said, I heard, I saw. We need the committee to table a report here. A written submission from the same board to come and say this and happened. So the honorable member, who is the chair for Labour,
I think he's out of
order. He's out of order.
Yeah,
you
this is the house of procedure.
You cannot say that a body has presented a report. We need a written submission so that we can hold the person responsible. Today, the Public Service Board has the constitutional mandate to employ, Madam Speaker. We don't want to blame the executive. It is none of our business. It is to hold the relevant constitutional board responsible. And if they are not able to do that, Madam Speaker, they need to go home, just like their predecessors. And we employ competent people, Madam Speaker. I want to say this, Madam Speaker, without fear of contradiction. The reason as to why the government creates constitutional bodies is for safe control of upholding and withholding the Constitution. Today, Madam Speaker, as we are seated in this house, we would wish to enjoy sitting allowances. But the SRC, established under the Constitution, which is an independent body, saw it fit and said the wage bill is beyond. The country's wage bill is ballooning. So let honorable members and the little they are earning make use of it, and once the economy grows, then we can reconsider increasing their salaries, their house allowances, and sitting allowances. Madam Speaker, we are working here knowing that our allowances are not enough, but we will have to stay with them, we like it or not, because there is a constitutional body established that controls that. Madam Speaker, when we came here in 2013, and the Honorable Joshua Monga from Masinga can attest that the previous defunct municipal councillors had the room even to decide allowances. They had room to decide the earnings. And when the government realized there was that violation, that's why the Constitution came up with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission that sets up counties' expenditures in terms of salaries. That is why the Constitution established the CRA, Committee on Revenue, Commission on Revenue Allocation, so that they can control, Madam Speaker. This assembly would wish to operate on a budget of 1.5 billion, 2 billion. We maximize our earnings, but the Constitution gave capping through the CRA and SRC so that we can ensure what we get as a county in terms of revenue. 65% of it goes to development, and that 5% of it goes to recurrent expenditure. Madam Speaker, it makes no logic why we are employing new ward administrators, why we are employing new village administrators. And I don't want even to mention which departments, but I want to say that if honorable members, we don't tame the appetite for employment in this county, I can tell you, we will not be able to do any development, tangible development in our wards and in the other county cross-cutting. Madam Speaker, the people of Mudhani Ward will not question me, the number of people I employed, but they will ask me the number of roads that I constructed, the number of hospitals that managed to operate, the number of street lights that I lit, the number of children that I managed to support in terms of education, Madam Speaker. And it is a cross-cutting issue across all the honorable members seated here, Madam Speaker. And it is on this note that I support this motion and say, honorable members, for now, if we try to read from what is happening in the National Assembly, there are so many litigations that are going in the national government. Reason being, Madam Speaker, the national government, in one way or the other, has tried to go against the Constitution. And that's why you can have so many cases that have ruled the national government to have violated the Constitution. Madam Speaker, we don't want to be an institution that does not conform and uphold the principles of constitutionalism. So, Madam Speaker, as I want to say this, honorable members. We want to employ, but we already have so many staffs that are not really giving us for return on investment. We have revenue officers who were employed recently, Madam Speaker, but their return on investment vis-a-vis the revenue is collected to support development, it is not supportive at all. And I want to resonate very high with my majority leader. How comes that a parking of 100 meters, Madam Speaker, that has got 10 cars or 20 cars parked in a day, has got more than 5-10 revenue collection clerks? Yet, Madam Speaker, when you go to key revenue collection areas, like in Katani Quarries, you go to Cheleni Quarries, and other reliable sources where we have a lot of information relevant, Madam Speaker, we have understaffing, which leaves more questions than answers. Why do we have an area that collects 10,000 shillings in a day, having 5 revenue officers, and yet an area that gives the county more than 1 million in a day is having 2 or 3 officers, Madam Speaker? It leaves more questions than answers. There might be conspiracy to steal, if not otherwise, Madam Speaker. So what I'm trying to say is this, Madam Speaker. In as much as we need to employ, for now, we have to stop with immediate effect any further employment, and we utilize the staff that we have, Madam Speaker. And if we find that even the staff that we have are more than what the Constitution says, Madam Speaker, we will have to do the painful thing of losing so that we can be able to maintain our revenue and our budget, fiscal policy responsibility, Madam Speaker. Because, Madam Speaker, if we continue employing every single day, we are not doing justice to our people. Madam Speaker, the National Assembly had to pass a motion to tame the borrowing appetite for the national government. We are not anyway different from the National Assembly. If they set a precedence based on substantiated facts, the same case, Madam Speaker, and I would just want to read the report on the Auditor General. Just one part, Madam Speaker. Non-compliance with the law on fiscal responsibility on wage bill. That is section 300 part 3 says this: the statement of receipts and payments reflects compensation of employees totaling 5.9 billion, which represents approximately 52%. I want to repeat. The statement of receipts and payments reflects compensation of employees totaling to 5.9 billion, which is approximately 6 billion shillings, which represents approximately 52% of the total receipts, which is about 11 billion. This was contrary to the Regulation 25 Suborder 1B of the Public Finance Management Act and the County Government Regulations of 2015, which requires the limit on the county government's expenditure on wages and benefits for its public officers not to exceed 35% of the county government's total revenue. It is the same report we got from the Committee of Budget. It's the same report we got from the Committee of Revenue Collection in Finance. So, Madam Speaker, which other arithmetics do we need? And if you cascade down, it is saying exactly what the honorable mover of the motion said. We have paid to the tune of almost about 500 million staff who are not captured in the IPPD system, Madam Speaker. And as we understand how governments operate, you might be surprised, Madam Speaker, whatever information was forwarded to the auditors, because this executive has an habit of plucking papers from reports. And it has been proven beyond any reasonable doubt in this house, Madam Speaker. You might be surprised, even the 500 million shillings that is being reported by the Auditor General is half of what was submitted. That means that, Madam Speaker, 1 billion shillings was paid without complying with the Constitution. Madam Speaker, as I sit down, I want to say this. We have to stop employment with immediate effect. And, Madam Speaker, we don't want to face litigation issues. Because even in the Auditor General report, it is talking about our litigation costs are almost 18 billion. So if we have to subject the county government to litigation issues based on non-compliance of what the law says, then, Madam Speaker, someone must be held accountable. So I second this motion and say, for now, what the honorable members have said before, we first need to grow our economy, the economy of the county. We need to expand our revenue earning mechanisms. We need to bring development that fosters development so that we can be able to create employment, Madam Speaker. But if we continue employing and employing and employing, Madam Speaker, come next year, with the over 300, 400 staff who have been shortlisted for employment as ward and village administrators, Madam Speaker, we are expecting in the wage bill to go to 60%. 40% will remain in development. And if you see, Madam Speaker, we are only doing 2.9 billion shillings for development with a budget of 11 billion shillings. It is unfair to the people who brought us to this house, to this county, and we must stop employment at that point in time when we shall get the audit report about the employment and they comply with the Constitution in terms of human resource audit. I second this motion, Madam Speaker, and say that the department that is entrusted with doing this work must comply. If it does not comply, Madam Speaker, we will revert back to this assembly and do the necessary. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The minority leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I came late. I'm sorry I was held up somewhere with the electorates addressing issues concerning this county. Honorable Speaker, I want to be very brief on the
point of information, Madam Speaker.
On a point of information.
Yeah, my name is Alphonse Mutinda, representing Kiva Ward. I want to correct the minority. Minority leader. It is Madam Speaker, not Madam Chair. Today we have a different section. Yeah, not as we were yesterday.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you for that observation. But you must agree that if you remove an animal from forest A and you take it to forest B, it still remains the same. In most cases, the chair sits on that seat and the speaker sits on that seat, and it's the same person. So, Madam Speaker, I'm saying I'm going to be very brief on this. I've just entered the chamber and I found maybe the last speaker. The motion is good, and I believe the mover of the motion has moved the motion with what we call good faith. My concern is just one. Is it possible for us to substitute the word stop with regulate? Because we are all aware that our agencies are watching us. We are saying we stop employment and they are not employed. Honorable Speaker, I've never opposed anything in this motion, in this assembly. Let me today stand and say, if we are approving to stop employment, I'm opposing. But if we are going to regulate, I'm going to support. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Grace Bahati, your hand was up before.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. My name is Grace Bahati, MCH Eleni Ward, and I definitely support this motion that we do need to regulate our... Madam Speaker, can you...
Order, Honorable Kavyu.
Thank you. I definitely do support this motion on basis of one of the things we need to do. We need to the first batch of our county workers who are employed. Can we have a review? Where are we now for us to get a need to have others in office? That should be number one. And number two, from the people that have been employed, just like any other elected member here in our 40 wards, we have our electorates who are employed. Yes, it's good. They get their money. But yet, as a young person, educated, and most of my fellow young people out there, they are frustrated. There are no jobs and educated. And with all due respect, the people who are employed, that we call them GDUs, or governor deliverers, delivery units, we have them, some of them are already retired teachers. Some of them, If you look at their age honestly, even in the burials, our electorate can actually attest to it. If I was to be asked, those positions should be replaced by the young people who are in the same wards who are actually jobless. Not to deny them, some of them are parents and all that, but genuinely, if we want to build our county, how then will we pass our knowledge, our experience, if then we don't bring up the new people into the systems? So for me, we need to have a review. In each and every job, I believe, members, there's something called a review of the boss to the worker. How do you think we are doing? Do you think you are growing? And in the essence of the ones that we employed, Cheleni Ward, for instance, in all our revenue collections, Madam Speaker, I can go with you and you'll attest, in that place we've employed at least 8 people in past station. I'm in the finance committee. Our revenue is not increasing. So if we employed these people to help us actually increase our revenue, then why is our revenue going lower and lower? Or why is there no growth? Can we review? If these people are not delivering to the people of the county, we can actually let them go and get the other people who are willing to work and bring results to the county. Like Mheshimiwa Mudhwani said, by the end of the term, they will be asking us, where are the roads? Where are the boreholes? Where are the ECD classes? In this report, the number of people they are employing, I did not see how many teachers, ECD teachers, we're employing. Were there, honorable members? We don't have ECD teachers there. Yet our ECD schools, our electorates are struggling to pay for their PP1 and PP2 school fees, while so high. And Madam Speaker, you can attest, we do not give our ECDE students bursaries. So that would have been a very good point for us to employ our ECD teachers, which is a first priority as a mandate for us as MCAs. So this report, I support it. Let it go back to the board. Can they tell us the need that arose for us to employ more people? And if that's the case, they need to include the most need for our employees. They need to include our teachers, our hospital nurses and doctors, because we believe those are the most important and need that our electorate are requesting. And in top of that, we need to have a gap, or even we need to have a percentage that we must employ our youths, not exceeding 35 years old. They must be part of it. So I do support this motion, but then we must come with proper regularizations of making sure that we have money to do development and at the same time create job opportunities for our people, and mostly I'm defending the young people. I also need to work with people my age at the community level. Thank you.
I now invite the mover to reply.
Thank you, honorable members, for the great insight that you have given. Madam Speaker, somebody once said, sometimes to win in politics, you must listen to Satan and his small demons. Meaning that sometimes when we are leading, sometimes we have to listen to people who say things, even the things that we don't want to hear. Madam Speaker, it is a fact that we have a problem in terms of our workforce. And Madam Speaker, we have so many people who have been employed and they don't have an actual job description of what they are supposed to do. And Madam Speaker, what we are also seeking with this motion, it is not only to stop, but it's also to ensure those who are there and are supposed to be, and there is justification for their employment. We also want to ensure that also our people are remunerated and they are paid fairly according to the government scales that have been provided. Madam Speaker, most of Machakos citizens who have been paid, and maybe if you allow me for lack of a better word, most of the people who are being paid manual, they claim to be employed by the county government of Machakos, but Madam Speaker, using this soily word, what happens wanafanyanga kuchotewa at the end of the month. It is not something that you can call a salary. So we want a proper review of our staff audit, so that the county public service of Machakos, which is tasked with the role of ensuring that we have a balanced quality and proper human resource management, do their work. There is nothing like my hands are tied. We employed those people here. They took an oath. So they cannot shift blame. If they say they are normally told to employ, have they brought a report to the floor of this house, which is the vetting organ or the oversight organ, and said, Honorable House, I've been asked to employ these people. There is no budget. There is this. So, Madam Speaker, everybody has to do their job that they are mandated by the law to do, and do it very well. So, Madam Speaker, I wish that the House adopts this, and this is for the good of this county. We want quality staff, quality payment, and this will also save the county a lot of money, because, Madam Speaker, when we are paying people in cash outside the system, it is also hard for us to tell who are we paying. People can decide to pay people who never show up in offices, because it is the system that is supposed to tell you. And even it becomes easier to generate report. So if the Auditor General is speaking this thing, it might be bigger than what meets the eye. So thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the House for supporting the motion. Thank you.
I now put the question that this House discusses and approves the county government of Machakos. 1, freezes recruitment of personnel, including the recently advertised positions of village administrators, until a comprehensive staff audit is done. Report presented and recommendations made by this assembly. 2, presents to the assembly a list of county staff paid outside the integrated payroll and personnel database, that is IPPD system, including details of the job description. As many are of the opinion, say ayes. As many of the contrary opinion, say nay. And the ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, alteration of calendar and adjournment of the House.
I call the Honorable Majority Leader, Leader of Majority Party on MCA for Machakos Ward, Honorable Nicholas Zioka, to give the motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the motion that, notwithstanding the resolution of the Assembly made on 25th February 2025, that is approval assembly calendar, 26th February 2025, alteration of the calendar, and pursuant to standing order number 25, the Assembly resolves that the calendar, that is regular sessions, for the fourth session of the third Assembly be altered to adjourn its sitting from today, Tuesday, 4th March 2025, after the morning sitting, and resume its regular sittings on Wednesday, 12th March 2025 at 10 a.m., and the Assembly, that is the regular session, for the fourth session altered accordingly. Before I call my seconder, the Speaker, communicated that we are in receipt of the county fiscal strategy paper, and because of the constitutional requirements and timelines, we are adjourning so that we go and conduct public participation. So I call upon the leader of minority to second.
I now propose the question that, notwithstanding the resolution of the County Assembly made on 25 February 2025, approval of Assembly calendar, 26 February 2025, alternation of the calendar, and pursuant to Standing Order number 25, the Assembly resolves that the calendar, that's the regular sessions, for the fourth session of the Third Assembly be altered to adjourn its sitting from today, Tuesday 4th March 2025, after the morning sitting, and resume its regular sittings on Wednesday, 12th March 2025 at 10 a.m. and the Assembly regular sessions for the fourth session altered accordingly. I now invite members to debate the motion. I read the mood of the House. I now put the question that, notwithstanding the resolution of the Assembly made on 25 February 2025, that is the approval of Assembly calendar, 26 February 2025, alternation of the calendar, and the pursuant to Standing Order number 25, the Assembly resolves that the calendar, that is the regular sessions for the fourth session of the Third Assembly, be altered to adjourn its sitting from today, Tuesday, 4th March 2025, after the morning sitting, and resume its regular sitting on Wednesday, 12th March 2025 at 10 a.m. And the Assembly, that is the regular session for the fourth session, altered accordingly. As many are of the opinion, say ayes. As many are of the contrary opinion, say nay. And the ayes have it. The House adjourns to Wednesday, 12th March 2025 at 10 a.m.